25 years in business, a 10% charitable donation every single year since day one, 389 trees planted in 2025, and £15,000 worth of pro bono were given away in the same year. Obvious that for Vaishali Shah, giving is not a marketing strategy, but it is how the business was built from the ground up. I'm Ildiko Seeley, your routine and performance strategist, and Routine is Revenue is where we explore the habits and values that underpin sustainable business performance. Today, we are in the territory of spiritual health. Specifically, what happens when your business is connected to something larger than revenue, and why that connection turns out to be one of the most powerful performance anchors of all. So Vaishali, you've donated 10% of your profits to charity every single year since you started in business. But most founders wait until they feel, successful enough or have made enough income to give. What made you put giving at the foundation of your business rather than to the finish line?
Thank you. Yes, no, it's a very good question. It's something that I've been brought up with, to be honest. I come from a philanthropic family. I'm kind of third generation in the family. And it's something that we talked about at the breakfast table. It was something that was just very much part of my life and part of the conversations that I was having with the family. So I knew from day one, which is now 26 years ago, that I wanted to donate 10% of profits to charity. At that time, when I set up the business in 2000, there was nothing like corporate social responsibility, CSR. I didn't even know those words. For me, it was just part of the business. It wasn't a kind of addition. It was very much kind of integral to the business. So for me, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do, which I have heard many people say in their conversations, well, I want to wait till I've made it. I want to wait till I retire and then I'll look at charity and philanthropy. For me, it was like, no, I want to do it from day one, whatever that means. Small as I start the business, more as the business grows. But it was something that I wanted to have at the core, at the heart of my businesses.
That's beautiful. So is your family background, so your family's been in business, or it was just a view of life that they were looking at it to make it an integral part of your life to give?
So I have a family business which is 103 years
wow.
old. And so it was, so it started kind of my grandfather, my father and uncle, and my brother and myself. So it was something that we always had the belief that came from my grandfather, that wherever we made money as a business, that's where we wanted to donate back to. So that was the UK, that was India, that was East Africa. And that was very much part of, we work hard, but we work hard with a purpose and to give back and to help those that are kind of disadvantaged, that don't have those benefits that we have. So it was very much a kind of core message for us.
That's quite admirable that you had that cultural background from your family to pass that on to you, to be able to build it into your everyday life, really, from day one. As you say, breakfast table as a child, it comes almost kind of difficult, making me think about my cultural upbringing. And giving was not really part of the conversation. It was all about the communist kind of regime taking. And then it grew more into about how do you make the most of it and how do you take for yourself. And I suppose in some twisted way that could be looked at as philanthropy. When the regime is taking from you, then you are philanthropic towards yourself, is how can you play the system. But then is that right or wrong? I suppose that could be debated. If it wasn't somebody's integral part of their upbringing like yours, then what could it mean to them? How could people start to implement it into their lives?
And that's why I enjoy these conversations, because I feel by talking more about this, people do realize that people of my age and people, 26 years ago when I set up my business, it is something that we can do and bring it part of our life. And I think also people think philanthropy or giving back is just money, or writing that check. But actually, for me, giving back is a lot more. It could be sharing your contacts. In today's world of social media, it could be sharing posts from different charities, spreading awareness, introducing people from your network to the charities. So yes, money is great to give back that way, but there are other ways. So if a business is a startup or feels that actually, all the funds we have, we want to plow back into the business. We don't want to, we don't have the means to allocate to charity. Okay, that's fine. But what else could you be doing to help other charities, to spread the words, your network, etc.? So I think that's something that I'm a strong believer in, that it's not just about the money. What else can you do to support a charity and give back that way? And if you have that view, then I feel that you can then incorporate that from any point in your business. You don't need to wait till you retire, don't need
Mm.
to wait till you're 70 or you've made your millions. You can do it from day one.
Absolutely. And I think we can open it up a bit broader as well, because it's not just about charities, but many of us coaches, for example, we run a little project for a period of time, giving away complimentary consultation sessions, which is a little bit more than perhaps like the onboarding, or sorry, what are they called, like discovery calls. Like I just launched, having had my birthday a couple of weeks ago, although I don't know when this episode will be going out. But anyway, so in April, I had my birthday and decided to give away 52 complimentary consultation sessions to celebrate my 52nd birthday. And
Amazing.
actually it is very much a trend at the moment, isn't it, that people like post on Facebook to say, I don't want presents, I don't want this and the other, please donate to XY charity. And I just wanted to give people the opportunity to be able to look at their routine and bring awareness. And I think, again, the word I would like to anchor here of what you said, like talking about it, like you said, talking about this topic is bringing awareness to people that this is an integral part of our lives. One of Jim Rohn's books, I know that he didn't come up with the idea, but he very much advocated to give 10%. And you are absolutely right. It can be 10% of your money, but it could be 10% of your time or 10% of your products or services. But when you give, you will receive.
Exactly that. And I love what you did for your birthday. That's wonderful. When my business turned 25 last year, I did something similar, and I decided I wanted to donate £15,000 worth of branding and marketing support pro bono to three
Mm.
charities. And that's what I did. So I wanted to kind of go above and beyond and make that difference. And you get that sense of purpose, that sense of validation when you do that, because you are doing good, and the impact that you can make is vast. And especially when you see, because the charity tell you, they write a testimonial, you see what you've done, where your funds have gone or where your time has gone. To me, it's completely rewarding.
And this is exactly what it means for businesses to connect to something much larger in the business's life, isn't it? But how does
It's
philanthropy differ from social responsibility policies?
so I don't know, like definition wise, but for me, kind of philanthropy is giving back, and that kind of corporate social responsibility is for the firm, that the business, the organization that you're working for, they may be doing something as a firm, but actually, what can you as the individual do? So the ideal is, if you're working in a firm, both doing that, you as the
Right.
individual are doing something, but also the firm is doing something. So, for example, I know in our family business, if somebody was running the marathon or anything like that, we would match fund it. So, from the company's point of view, we would match fund what an individual from the firm was doing. So, the ways to do that, and match funding is a popular um, initiative that I see organizations doing. So, that's also something. If you're working, a lot of us are kind of, we're founders, we run our own businesses. But if you're an employee working for someone else, why not ask them, what are their CSR objectives? What are they doing? Are they doing something that you as an individual can hook into? If there's a charity or a cause that you really believe in, could you kind of introduce that to the company? I mean, certainly in our family business, we wanted our staff. So we had 180 staff, 8 offices, and we wanted our staff to feel involved. So it wasn't what the family wanted, where they felt that we should donate. We actually went around to all the staff and said, please put a charity that you feel we as a business should support. Please put that down. And then we got a short list of 10, and then we got a short list of 2, and then we chose one from the 2, the one that was the
That's
highest, the most popular. So it meant that if somebody said, I want to do something for health and medical, or something for children, or for autism, or something, we wanted the staff buy-in, and that's what I think is powerful
Very powerful, because what you
when they've been
created there
involved.
was an emotional connection. So people weren't just giving money or time. They had the chance to choose who they wanted to support. And then perhaps, I don't know if you did a little voting, maybe when you got to the short list, so that
Yes,
staff could actually vote. So
yes.
they were very much emotionally connected to the cause as well, which probably makes a huge difference. If you were listening to this thinking this is exactly where I get stuck, that is not accidental. You have the business strategies, but leaking energy and focus through weak personal health routines. This is the work I do privately with business owners who are ready to build their routines so their business can run without it costing them their health. Do you think that philanthropy and service make businesses a bit more resilient or even sustainable, with that sort of slightly less commercial focus on certain things?
Definitely sustainable. I mean, to me, kind of spiritual health, personal health, all of this, in terms of your business, is about alignment and alignment to your values. So I think, especially in unprecedented times, we've had ups and downs in the economy, we've got things going on in the Middle East where I am now. By having those kind of strong values, actually does keep you sustainable, does keep you kind of aligned, focused. Things are happening around you, but if you know what you believe in, and that's really at the core of what you're about and what your business is about, I think it does make you resilient, and I think it does make your business sustainable.
So, how do you build giving in any way, shape, or form into the fabric of your business, whether you are a small team or whether you are a large company, or even a solopreneur, which could be perceived as a little more difficult?
So I think the starting point is that you need to believe in it, not that you've listened to this podcast and you think, well, Vaishali's doing it, I need to do it. I think it's got to come in, it's got to come as a belief, because then again, it'll unwaver. So when times are hard, you still know that you're going to give back. So I think the starting point is you believe in it. And if so, then you want to do it wholeheartedly. Then I think you then just look from a practical point of view as to what can you do. Can you say I will give 5% or 10% of my profits to charity? Can you do that? Have a conversation with your accountant and see, is that something that could be built in? Or if it's not a percentage, could you say, I want to give £500 or £1,000 equivalent in whatever currency? Is that what you could do, or you aspire to do? What else can you do if you've got a team? Talk to your team, see what you could do. Could you do, I mean, I remember, from school days, we did bake sales, and we did, there's lots of things. I mean, we've done, you could be dress down day, it could be, wear a hat day, and everyone puts 50p or £1 in. I mean, be creative. Again, ask your team, what do you want to do? It could be fancy dress for a theme. What could you do that you try and raise some money? Talk to your clients, talk to your business collaborators. Is there something that you could do jointly with them if they're doing something, or is it something you could do but then ask your the people that you work with, would they donate to you? So I think there's definitely ways, kind of on the financial side, and then on the time side, how can you allocate it? Could you say that, okay, Friday afternoon I'm going to spend on giving back? So whether that's reading to the blind, which is something that I did, is it, something, reading to the blind, is it mentoring somebody, is it going to the old people's home and talking, spending an hour talking to the elders there? What is it that you could do? And I think if you kind of make it as a routine, so you say the last Friday of the month, or the Friday half day every week. If you kind of structure it in the business, I
Okay.
think almost like it's a business meeting. I think that's a way that you can kind of build it into your calendar and do it that
Yeah,
way.
there's a number of things here, because one the things you were saying, like wear a head day or dress down day. I was thinking that I probably haven't worked in corporate for way too long because I forgot about these things. I actually, you reminded me that we used to do that sort of stuff, and it's making it fun. I think that's really important, to make it fun and very real. Or again, I'm quoting Jim Rohn here. I'm pretty certain it was one of his books that I was listening to when he said, "Teach your children giving early on. So if you give them $1, then get them to take a cent or 10 cents and take them to an old people's home, or a homeless shelter or a food bank, and let them see people who are underprivileged. And when they've only got that tiny little bit, it's easy to teach them to give that tiny little bit so that as they grow up and have more, then just like probably how you were taught, that it becomes an integral part of life to give to the underprivileged.
Exactly, and that's why I shared that story to show that actually, when it starts from a young age, it's just part
Mm,
of your life, part of your well-being, and that's why I've actually enjoyed speaking at schools, and actually,
nice.
I've talked in assemblies, so that the students are and they're learning from a young age. Or if I talk to my friends that have children, it's lovely when I see that they're building that in, and maybe once a year something happens, and they do that with the school.
What kind of age groups were you talking to?
I was talking to an assembly. It was eight. It was actually very no. It was 11 to 18.
Oh wow, so that includes
11
teenagers.
to
So
18 year
how
olds.
do teenagers
Yes.
take that approach? Because obviously teenagers are kind of hormonally wired to think very differently during those few years. How do they take the idea of philanthropy?
I think if the school gets involved with something, then they will get involved or present an initiative, or they get somebody from a charity to come in. I find that's very powerful when you actually get somebody from the charity coming in for an hour and speaking, and then the students can ask questions. But it's a lot more meaningful, and they're talking with passion. So
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah,
you
this
can do that.
that kind of demonstration actually brings a lot deeper understanding, because it's like you can tell someone, why don't you donate XYZ to whoever? That means nothing. But when you see, like, I always give to guide dogs, but then of course they have dogs, and my husband calls me the dog botherer. Because whenever I see a dog, I just go and pet it if it's possible. So whenever I come across guide dogs, absolutely, I'm donating. So yeah, when there
That's
is that
lovely.
again, that emotional connection, isn't it?
Exactly, and exactly what you said about seeing it. So last year I planted, for my 25th year, 389 trees, and to see the volunteers planting the trees. We talk about nature, we talk about trees, but actually, when you hear the feedback of the volunteers, spending that Saturday morning planting it, and it's something that they can then revisit.
Mm.
It really is powerful. It is powerful. And as with your example of of dogs, it's find something that's meaningful to you. So it could be a pet, it could be nature, it could be environment, could be, I don't know, it could be coding. I mean, anything that you find that there's a way to,
I think that is a
to give
natural
back.
a natural selection that every one of us experience something adverse in our lives. We tend to sort of lean towards that adversity support, like it could be cancer charities, or any health related charities, or indeed the elderly, the young. That's my soft spot, the animals, because it's kind of like, in my eyes, they can't ask for help. So that's why I support the animal charities, and every single one of us choose whatever is close to our heart.
Okay.
But going back to your volunteers, I mean, you donated the money to buy the trees, but then I imagine that those people volunteering to put the trees into the ground were probably local to wherever the trees were going.
Yes,
So they had that vested interest, actually, that their immediate environment was being made better. So they put their own time and energy, and that was their donation, wasn't it? That they donated their time and energy to have those
exactly
trees live
that.
in their environment. That's beautiful. So bringing it back to business owners, what if a founder genuinely wants to build a values-led and purpose-driven business, but they are kind of operating in survival mode financially? Probably a lot of founders, solopreneurs, sort of starting out, could be associating with this. At what point does giving back become realistic?
If the business owner, the founder, feels that they want to give back, that's already a good start, because that thought process is there, that they want to. Then it's a matter of how do we get to that point, and whether it's talking to the accountant, trying to see, is there a figure that you can achieve? And if it's £200, well, £200 is better than £0. So why don't you do that and do it that way? Or you can look at the kind of business you are. If you're a product based business, do you have extra stock? Could that stock be used and donated to somebody that needs it? You've got stock that, you've got a new collection coming in, and so you've got that extra. Why not, do that? Or you could say, for this product, I'm going to give 10% off sales just for this one product. So again, there's ways to do it. It doesn't have to be a blanket, here's a percentage or here's a figure. You can choose a product and say, right, 10% off, or the first 10 people that buy this, that the cost of that product, I will donate to charity. There's lots of ways they can do it. So I think if the interest is there and it becomes part of your values of the business and it's something you want to do, there are ways to do it. And if you feel that even, year one it's not happening, year two it's not happening, but it's something that you want to achieve, then every year you can look at how you can build it in, and it may be year three that you do it. But the fact is you've had that thought from year one, and I think that's important. So when year three comes and you say, actually, I'm in the right position to donate, then you're ready to do that.
That's very good advice. Absolutely, to have that underlying want, and then whatever you sort of set out, it could potentially be like almost like being on a vision board, isn't it? That you will
Mm.
automatically work towards it. I would like to sort of link your philanthropic attitude to longevity as well. I know you've got some great client relationships from our previous conversation, and you say that some of them stretch 25 years. Literally, that goes back to the very beginning of your business. So, how much of that loyalty do you think is connected to your attitude as a philanthropic business?
Really good question. If I'm being perfectly honest, at the beginning of my business, I didn't talk much about donating 10% to profits. It was only later on, because it was almost like it was a private thing. I was not doing this for marketing or for people to think like, oh, great, look how good she is. It was just my thing that I did, that I had my discussion with the accountant, and at the end of the financial year, the check was written. So it was very much a kind of private thing. And actually, it was talking to my family, and they said, my father and my uncle were saying, why don't you talk
Yeah.
more about it? And as a kind of natural introvert, and I didn't want the attention on me, that's not the reason I was doing it. I was kind of like that, it didn't make sense to me. But then later on, as I talked to people, as I got more confidence as well in my business, I realized it did make an impact, and people would ask me, or rather say, we love that you do this, or would say, how do you choose your charities? And a dialogue conversation would take place. So I really enjoyed that. So I think that's how it kind of happened, for me. That it didn't happen initially, but then I started talking to people
Yeah.
about it. And in terms of the longevity of clients, so yes, I'm very fortunate that I have many clients that have been with me for 10, 15 years, so they do know the story. If I ask them, did you choose me because of the charity work, I'm not sure if they would say that. But I think what I'd like to think they would say is that they like the way that I work generally. They like the way that I nurture relationships. For me, relationships are really important. It's not a transaction. As I said, I come from a family business of 103 years. Why are we in our fourth generation of relationships? Because it's so important. So, again, conversations that I had at the breakfast table, those relationships are really important. So, I'd say I think that's what people would say, that they're drawn to me and why they've stayed with me, because there's a lot of competition around. And but the fact that I'd like them to think that I'm fair, I'm a person of integrity, I genuinely care about them, and it's not transactional. And if I see something that would be of use to them or something, even if it's kind of in between projects, I'm still going to send it to them or still do something for them. So for me, those nurturing relationships is a key lesson, I would say, over my years of
I mean,
business.
you must be doing some things pretty amazingly right, retaining some very high caliber clients as well. Can I ask you about them?
Yes, sure, sure. So yes, so I have a Michelin star chef client who was my second client. So we started July 2000, and he's with me, 26 years later. So I'm very proud of that relationship, because I think people would do his work for free. I think designers, marketeers would do his work for free to have him on the portfolio. But the fact that he pays me to do his work, I think that trust is there. um, I started working for him before he got the Michelin star. Before he got the Michelin star, so I kind of knew him from the beginning, rather than kind of running to him because he became famous and became the first Indian chef to have a Michelin star in the UK. I think he saw that I was a person of integrity, and I've been very loyal to him. So I think it works both ways.
Are you able to tell us who it is?
Oh yes, of course. Yes, it's Atul Kochhar, who's the first Indian Michelin star chef in the UK.
Wonderful. What a privilege that you work together. But it comes across to me that it's a privilege to both of you to work together, and you've kind of grown together over
That's
the
very kind.
years. So we've gone through a whole lot of different ways of applying philanthropy to our work life and our personal life as well, and whether we donate money or time, resources. But do you have any favorites that you could recommend to people? Something really simple, and it doesn't even have to cost money, that they could implement into their week right now. A favorite little advice that you could give to people so that they can start on the philanthropic journey in their business.
For me, I think a simple one and an easy one to implement is actually if there's a charity that you resonate with and they're fundraising, for example, share that post on your social media. Very
Okay,
simple. So, for example, I support a lepra, a charity dealing with leprosy. And
right.
so, whenever they have a post, well, I mean, they're regularly posting, but I'd kind of say, like every Sunday, I will post a charity, and I will post that on my social media. And then what I also do on LinkedIn is kind of about once a month, I'll put a note up saying, are there any charities that I should know about? Please tag them below. So again, they're getting a voice. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to sponsor them or do anything, but they are getting a platform so that my audience has now seen about this charity. And if it is a charity that I need to know about, then I will look it up, and then maybe share them on my channel. So that doesn't cost anything, doesn't really take up much time. So I would say that's a really good one, and especially in our kind of digital world,
Yes, the
I think
impact,
sharing on your preferred platform, yes,
absolutely, the impact can be huge. And if just a few people, or even like 100 people, 1,000 people did that for the charity, then, the exposure, it's invaluable to them, isn't it?
exactly. And that's what charities need. Of course, they want funds, but it's also they need to be put in front of the right people because they're kind of in their little pool. Often they'll say to me, "Our newsletter mailing list is not growing. We've had the same number of members, same number of followers for so long. We need new people." Well, this is a perfect way, as you said. If 5 people shared that, that's a whole new
Yes.
pool, a whole new world of
Five new
potential
audiences.
followers. Yes,
Yes,
exactly,
absolutely.
exactly.
Now, to round up our conversation, I'm going to be going off topic a little bit. Apparently, you are an introvert, which I find hard to believe. Yet, you've built a career that demands visibility and networking and showing up in rooms. I mean, you mentioned the assemblies we present at, and you give away a significant portion of what you earn. But you relocated internationally and started again and again and again in your life. So, in your opinion, is the version of success the business world is selling, which is like growth and scale and profit, actually the right goal for most founders?
Wow, that's a deep question. That's a deep question. I think you have to do as a founder, as it is as a founder, it's not easy. So I'd say, big congratulations to everyone that sets up their own business. So firstly, I would say that without putting kind of lots of pressure on them. To me, the winning combination is kind of having that success and also having that purpose. And if you can combine the two of kind of giving back in whatever definition that is, and growing your business with integrity, with purpose, with intention, I think that to me is the winning combination. And going to the point about being an introvert, I realized that if I want to tell my clients from a branding and marketing point of view that they need to be visible, they need to get noticed, I have to be doing the same. So even today, I was so nervous, even before I
Oh,
logged on for this conversation, I was so nervous. But I thought, you know what, Vaishali, enjoy the conversation. And if you can make an impact, because for me, impact's a really strong word. If you can make an impact and somebody listens to this podcast and thinks, actually, you know what, there's some takeaways from here that I can implement, then I'm really pleased. And I find that when I do these podcasts, I often get messages from people that know me and will say, you know what, we know what it took for you to do this, and actually you've inspired us. And whereas we were also like you, and we wouldn't take that PR opportunity, and we wouldn't stand up, and we wouldn't ask the question or put ourselves forward, we're seeing you do this, and actually you've inspired me to do it. So to me, again, that's a huge fulfillment and huge reward. So for me, my success in business, yes, money is great and I want to earn well, but I can earn well to help others. So for me, if I can help others financially, if I can help others by giving them that confidence to do it, that if I can do it, and I've moved, as you said, I've moved various countries and now Dubai 5 years ago. If I can do it, then I want it to for others to feel that they can do it as well.
Beautifully said. Absolutely beautifully said. And I feel even more privileged now that you joined me for this conversation. So, everybody, look after your spiritual health, be a bit more philanthropic, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
If this episode has shown you where weak health routines are costing you revenue, your next step is simple. Ask yourself this question: is your business draining your energy faster than it grows? If the answer might be yes, I invite you to book a conversation via the link in the show notes. If this conversation made you think, please subscribe, leave a comment, and listen again. If you would like more information on the topic or my guest, all information is in the show notes. Remember, your business will only ever be as healthy as you. Together, let's build routines to bank results.